was.
How did you break your arm? Honorable, how did you break your arm?
It's not true that I broke my arm, but the tormentors actually the one who had been instructed so to do. I'm only lucky that I don't look like some of our colleagues. But I had nothing to do with the breaking of the arm. It was maybe part of the punishment which was meted on us even during arrest.
Well, President Museveni says you and others confronted SFC soldiers as they tried to arrest you. How true is this?
President Museveni has turned out to be a pathological liar, and it seems it is a state of desperation in which he is, that he can engage into peddling lies. Because on the 13th of August 2018, President Museveni addressed a rally in a different division, the Arua Hill division. We addressed a rally in Oli division. So even by going by the Electoral Commission program, there was no point of how it would be in the same area. That to start with. Two, and most important, I'm given to understand that the record at Arua Airfield indicate that President Museveni left at 5:20. That's when he left. He flew back to Kampala. Our rally ended at approximately 5:30. And our procession back to the campaign office, we did not encounter anything like the convoy of the president. And what also makes the public actually to disregard whatever he says is that if there was such an encounter, they did not arrest us from the alleged scene of crime. They had to come and pick us from our hotels. That's why in his explanation,
Honorable
he tells
Mwiru,
a pack of lies that when...
It's at that, I'm sorry to interrupt you a bit, but it's at that I would like to know. How did you get arrested, and from where were you arrested?
One, we were arrested from, personally, I was arrested from Royal Hotel, where we had one of the tactical bases. And we just saw police came with tear gas, started shooting wantonly in the air while we were at the hotel. So everybody scampered for his life. We entered our hotel rooms, and the SFC together with the armed police broke into our rooms, started beating us up, and were arrested from the hotel. So that's what surprises me. That if we're involved in what President Museveni alleges, then why didn't they arrest us at the scene of crime? Because there's nothing which does not add up. First, where they were. Two, where the incident occurred, where the arrest took place. So the two doesn't add up. And given the credibility of the person we are talking about, who even planted the guns and the ammunition on Honorable Kyagulanyi, and later abandoned it, I want not to call the public that they treat him with the contempt he deserves. Because he has proved to be a pathological liar.
All right, Honorable, and now you are arrested, like you say. How did you what was your experience moving from Arua? Because you were in Arua, and the next thing is that you were taken to Gulu, where you were also charged. How was that experience, and how did you even get to arrive in Gulu later on?
First, I think after the manner in which we were arrested and were tortured and beaten, they thought that maybe we would communicate to some of Honorable Kashano's supporters within Arua who would react to the torture. Like, I will give an example. When we were at the Central Police Station, the SFC brought Honorable Zake, beaten almost to death, dumped him at the police station. The police were stuck with him. They wanted him to enter the cells. Because we were there, people started coming next to the police station. So in their wisdom, they thought that they had to remove us from the jurisdiction where they were claiming the incident occurred, drove us at around 2 a.m. in the morning to Gulu. When we reached at Gulu, they were incarcerated at a Central Police Station where we spent 3 nights, and thereafter produced in court on the trumped-up charges of treason, and thereafter were remanded to Gulu prison. That's how we ended up in the prison.
Tell us about your experience in Gulu prison, particularly because here you are supporting a person who is a political friend, if we would call him so, and then you are arrested and the next minute you are in prison. Tell us about your experience in prison. First of all, with the arrival, how were you received at the prison in Gulu?
I think we need to give credit where it is due. For instance, whereas all the institutions of government have broken down, when you go to the prisons, I think it is one of the surviving institutions. Because while in court we complained about torture, and the magistrate gave an order for us to access medical attention. When we reached to prison, we were received, went through the process of being admitted as prisoners, and actually I was even given a number because my number was R1087/2018 while in prison. So we reached in prison, was screened, and I think they professionally handled us because even when the court had ordered that they take us for medical examination, that's how I was in position to discover that my arm had been dislocated, and we did an X-ray. Even the prison doctors actually attended to us. They created for us a special room where we were which we used as our point of incarceration. Though of course the challenging aspect is where you do be counted almost every 3 hours. You have to go on fallen, they count you, then later also closure of the Boma at 3 p.m. that we have to be indoors. So by and large, I want to say that the prison is still very professional. Our challenge was with the Central Police Station because the DPC made sure we don't access food. He kept on chasing our people who had visited us to provide us with food. Then also we'd sleep on the floor because the DPC had refused anybody to give us anything to cover ourselves with or even to lay on the floor. So the prison per se was a little bit more professional.
All right,
that's what I can say about the prison.
And your experience in prison, the question is, did you get any access to information in regard to what was happening outside? Did you have time to probably watch television or read newspapers just to acquaint yourself with what was happening outside, given the fact that now you are